Start recording. Stop recording button.
Hey guys, Griff Spence here, and I hope you're all doing well and keeping safe in this situation with COVID-19. Just a couple of things I want to say today. Firstly, this is a bit of a checkpoint for me because I don't know how this next few months is going to go. And I don't get that many followers or subscribers, but, you know, all the ones I have, I really appreciate. And all the views I get, I appreciate. Excuse me. And anyone who hasn't seen my unlisted video won't see it until I do what I need to do. But, yeah, so today I'd just like to talk about a couple of things. Starting with this whole business. Now, I live in Australia and we are now in the Series 2 lockdown procedures. And there are still people who are not abiding by the rules. My opinion is, guys, clean up your bloody act and start doing it. I'm not a stickler for the rules myself. In fact, I frequently break rules. This is different. This is very serious. This is life-threatening for lots of people, and you are putting people at risk. So please, guys, do the right thing and stop us going into lockdown. But you probably won't anyway, so, you know, not much I can really do about it. But those who have up here in Australia, especially anyone I know who has done it, I won't say your names here, good job. Thank you very much for doing the right thing. I know this hasn't been easy, but, you know, I'm basically making this as a bit of a checkpoint because the economy may crash and all this might disappear. So second thing is there's a new app going around the audiogames.net forum called Honeygain. It's not a scam, guys. It isn't. It's on the Mac App Store, and believe me, if it was a scam, they wouldn't allow it there. So just use it if you want to, or don't use it. It's up to you. It'll sell your data, but it'll only sell it if you install it. You're choosing to sell your data. It's not stealing your data. You are choosing to sell your data when you install the app. So if you don't want to sell your data, don't install the app. So that's just the first couple of things out of the way. And the final thing is, and this goes out to everyone in Australia who thinks they know it all about airports. All right, so here's my little rant for the day. I went out to Tumut last week. Tumut was uncontrolled. There was an open gate. I was supposed to meet someone. I could walk airside and walk down the tarmac to their gate, to their hangar. It was on the pedestrian side of the line, and even if I had to cross the line to the parked planes, as long as I knew someone who owned a plane, generally, that would be okay. And the same with Redcliffe and Caboolture. But there are people who are trying to change that. And there are people who are discriminating against the blind community, which unfortunately those who are interested in aviation haven't stepped up, and I'm hoping to get that to happen. And they are saying, you need to be with somebody sighted when you go to an airport. Now, I was with somebody sighted all these times, so I know by making this video I was not breaking any regulations. But that is discrimination. Pilots need to not crank their propellers over if a blind person using their cane is walking past the propeller. That's the same on a road. You cross a road, a blind person crosses a road, right? They cross a road. They have to do that. They wait 10 seconds and then they cross. If a guy speeds around the street and hits them, it's on them. So if a pilot decides to be a moron and crank their prop while a blind person's in front of it, then that's on the pilot, not the airport. And airports shouldn't have to be making these measures because of people who are idiots. Now, don't get me wrong. I know loads of really good pilots, and most people would not do it. I know most people would be good people, but we've always got a few idiots, and they've always got to ruin it for everybody else. So don't. For those who do want to cut blind people up with their props, don't. Let us go to airports by ourselves and navigate to hangars where we can meet people, or even own your own planes, because that's legal. We just can't fly them. We can tinker with them. We can get an instructor to take us up. An RAOs can even give us flying lessons, as long as, I don't think we can solo, but we can still do flying lessons under RAOs if we're blind. So, that's the first thing. Pilots, don't be morons. Second thing, airports. Please be reasonable. Thirdly, the airports who are being reasonable, great job. You're awesome. I've marked, I've given you thumbs up. I've given you good reviews, and I'll continue to give you good reviews. Just keep providing that service. Keep letting blind people go. It's good. There's plenty of blind people who are interested in flying. Unfortunately, they're just not speaking out. And hopefully this video will push people to speak out. And I'd like as many people, I'm going to share this around. Share it with everybody you know. Get it out there. I don't care about the subscribers. If you don't want to subscribe to me, then that's fine. I want blind people who are interested in aviation, and I know there's a lot of people out there, to step up. Because, we can do this. We can go to airports. We can go airside. We can walk along the tarmac and be sensible with our canes and shoreline along the fence at uncontrolled airports, of course. And pilots, please be aware, if you do see somebody walking along the tarmac with a white cane, that's a blind person, so call out to them, ask if they're all right. They might be an aero club member like me, or there might be someone who's going to meet someone in a hangar, or there might be a pilot with a navigator with RAOs. So, yeah, just check them, ask how they are. But please don't yell at them or kick them out, because they're not there to steal planes or to break planes or to get, to cause havoc at the airport. They're there to enjoy aviation like I am. And blind people who do that, who go to airports to be a nuisance, then don't go to bloody airports. And I know there are blind people out there who give us a bad name. So which moves us on to the next step. Controlled airports. I have about 6 to 7 forms of ID on me. And I've got another form of ID sitting downstairs. That's enough for an ASIC or an ASIC, whatever way you want to pronounce it. How do I say this? Please allow us to get that clearance. I'm an Aero Club member at a controlled airport, and I've had people say if the Aero Club do me a letter, they'll do me an ASIC, but I've been getting mixed messages saying that they won't do it because they say, it's not an official clubhouse, or, you don't need to be airside. If we're cleared, if we don't have any illegal activities, which most of us don't, and I don't, we have a good immigration, we're born in Australia, we have no criminal background, we have no police checks, please allow us, like everybody else, to get cleared. And then at Canberra Airport, you guys, please then allow us to get our fingerprints and our cards registered with Gate 3 so we can go through Gate 3 and join the Aero Club in there. So, yeah, that's my little thing there. And, I know what people might be thinking, blind people, but please be smart. We can't see. We can't fly a plane into a building. We can't fly a plane into a building because we can't see where the building is. What are we going to go do? Sit out on the cowling with our canes and feel where a building is? No. So please be reasonable. I actually want to do everything legit, but I do want to have access to airports. And, I feel like there are some airports that are really accommodating, and I've mentioned some of them on that list, and I will continue to mention them. But some of those airports are being threatened by CASA, by the councils. So just stop people threatening these airports. Keep the small airports open to the public. That includes blind people. Stop trying to say blind people cannot go to airports. I can go to a mechanic. I've done a 2-year automotive course, right? That was bloody dangerous. Okay? We're not stupid. An 18-year-old or over adult who happens to be blind, and if that's their only disability and we have intellect enough, let us go to the airports, please. Don't try and ban us. Don't try and stop us. Controlled airports, especially Canberra Airport, which is where I live, please provide blind people with the ASIC cards. We will have our security identification. We will have our birth certificate. I've got a birth certificate, a proof of age card, a working with vulnerable people card, a Medicare card, a bank statement, and a couple of other things. And all of those things are useless if you guys won't give us it on the grounds that we're blind and we can't go airside. So, I'm very, very passionate about aviation. And I'm absolutely sure there are other blind people out there who are. I know a couple of blind people who are. Maybe not as much as me, but they are there. Yeah, we can't get our licenses and fly solo. But we can get our licenses with RAOs. Well, we can't get our licenses, sorry. We can get flying lessons with RAOs, and we can fly with an instructor who can, the more we practice can let us do more and more. And I eventually would like to own my own plane. And that's legal because it's legal to register the thing. It's just not legal for me to fly it without a licensed instructor that I know of a couple of. So I'll be able to fly it anyway because I'll just get the instructors to use my plane and it'll be cheaper. And then I've got a family member who's getting their RAO's pilot's license. And I don't know what RAO's rules are with the controls, operating the controls. I know that you can follow them on the controls. But anyway, what I'm saying is I'm not trying to cause any ruckus here. I'm not trying to cause any grief or any trouble. But airports who are accommodating, please keep up the good work. You're awesome. People who are trying to close down the accommodating airports, please stop. Think about what you are doing and not do it. Not damage an accommodating airport because they're hard to find. Flying is for everybody, not just for airlines. And everyone should get a chance to do it, even if it is only with an instructor. Doesn't matter if someone has a disability, you should try and incorporate them. And controlled airports, I totally understand your security. I totally understand. September 11 was a big thing. All right? And I'm not even going to express my opinions here because that's not really the point of this video. The point is, I know why you're scared. And you have a right to be. But if a blind person comes along with all the ID and all the right documents and they happen to need airside clearance because they're a member of an aero club, and I'm such a person, I'm in such a boat, please just grant it. If we've got the right documents, who cares if we're not pilots? Just, even if you have to demand that we get orientation and mobility, Vision Australia have already said they'll do it. I've already got one instructor who said if I can get airside clearance at Canberra Airport, he will come airside with me and do orientation and mobility, which is where we learn to use our canes and or mini guides and or guide dogs in some cases airside. And I personally think that if it's possible, some companies, not all, but some companies who are in an area where the airport permits it should train some of their guide dogs airside, not just on roads and stuff, but airside. So train them around planes so they learn how to do it and they learn how to keep their owners safe. Because really, blind people should be able to go anywhere sighted people can go. And we're not stupid. Well, some of us are. And the people who are, I'm pissed off about them because they just give us a bad name. So, I'm not having a go at anyone. Nothing's happened yet. But this COVID-19 should have raised some red flags. In the long run, there are much worse things that can happen than blind people getting airside access to airports. And I hope that people who are blind, who are interested, will step up. And I'll certainly be sharing it with my blind friends. And, you know, I certainly will be letting it go out there. But, you know, flying is for everybody who wants to do it. It might not be solo for everybody, and some people may not get their licenses and may always have to fly with a licensed instructor, but let them have a go. And let them get airside. Let them smell the smell of the avtur. You know, nothing I love more than going to an aero club barbecue where I don't even fly anything. Sometimes I might just sit in one of their club planes and feel the controls. Or sometimes I might sit out in the balcony during a barbecue and have my sausage sandwich and listen to the airliners take off and smell the smell of the avtur. Or sometimes I might sit on the computer and play Flight Simulator, which is surprisingly satisfying to play Flight Simulator at an airport. And yes, I have installed it on the Canberra airport computer. I had permission to install it. It was legal to install it. It's a full version. It's a legal version. It's a legitimate version. And I purchased it, and I've given you a version of it. And all of you who use Canberra Airport are free to use it. And if I do get this clearance, which I really want, the next thing I'm going to be adding is a joystick. And the next thing I'm going to be adding are a better pair of speakers. And then I'm going to add a whole lot of stuff. And don't worry, you can still use that computer for flight plans, because it's not going to be changed in that regard. It's just going to have Flight Simulator added to it. But I'm going to make Flight Simulator better. Because imagine if you rocked up as a pilot to Canberra Gate 3. This is Canberra Airport I'm talking about, right? And the weather turned foul. Like what happened to me at an Aero Club barbecue. I couldn't go outside and thingy because it was pissing with rain. You know, that happens. But what do? Go home? Well, I have devised an alternative. And all fellow pilots who like it, comment on this video, please, and give me a thumbs up, because quite honestly, I hope that you enjoy it. And I hope that if you couldn't go out there and get into your plane for whatever reason, because it's broken, because the weather turns nasty, because there's a UFO over the runway 25 or 35, well, there's 2 runways at Canberra anyway, or, you know, just because of other conditions, jump on the simulator. It's sitting in there, it's on the computer. Just go in, click the icon on the desktop, it'll come up. You don't need a CD, I've activated it and all that. And then, you know, go for a fly in a plane on the computer. Or if you want to learn something, use the flying lessons. Go to the flight school, and the Flight Simulator has a full flight school that goes from the American student pilot all the way up to the, the airline transporter pilot. So it can teach GA pilots how to fly Boeing 737. They'll probably never fly it in their real life, but hey, it's there. So use it if you want to. If you can go to the airport and you can't get out in your own plane, jump on the simulator and fly. Still fly at the airport. Just not fly a real plane, just fly a simulator. Anyway, that's the end of my absolute rant here. And I know what people are going to say, but please don't be putting comments, oh, it's dangerous for a blind person to be airside, or what's a blind person doing interested in planes? You know, I've had comments before, blind people don't use computers. Like, we do a lot of things. I'm sorry, but if you're that ignorant, get off my YouTube channel. Don't comment. You know, I'm not interested in people who are like that. You know, blind people can do a lot of things that sighted people can do. And yeah, we might not be able to fly without a licensed instructor or a licensed pilot, but we still can. Because they can be our eyes. And hey, I've heard of pilots who are blind who do get their pilot's licenses. And they use Braille. They use Braille charts. So don't chuck it in our faces, please. Because a blind person might be just as interested in flying as a sighted person. And me, I really like that we still have accommodating airports. And there's lots more that I haven't mentioned. I don't want to mention them all in case someone decides to watch this video and get them all closed. Like, it's really hard to sit there and watch CASA come and control uncontrolled airports. You know, the government doesn't come and control car parks. Aeroplanes aren't that special. Well, they are. They're cool. But they aren't special in the fact that we've had them for almost as long as we've had motor cars. So let people be involved in them. Because in this day and age, flying should be for everyone. And it's annoying, in fact, that we haven't got planes that are the price of a car that any civilian can own. They can do a flying test like a driving test. So Canberra Connect doesn't have that yet. But it should. It should have a flying thing instead of just a driving thing. And many more people should get their pilot's licenses. That's what I think anyway. Because flying is awesome. And flying is a great hobby. And yeah, flying is a bit more of a risk. Because, you know, there's a third dimension. But most drivers on the road are more dangerous than pilots. And if you're a sensible pilot, which I hope you are, and most of the people I know are, and I know I am when I've been allowed up, then you'll be fine. Flying isn't that scary. You just have to remember that as well as side to side, there's up and down. There's no reverse either, so you're only going forward. There is reverse if you're in a helicopter, but I've never flown one of them, unfortunately. Anyway, look, that's the end of my huge rant. It's probably gone on for too long. But I felt like I have to get it out there somewhere because no one else will. You know? And that's a big, bloody problem that we're facing as a blind community. And please stay safe, everybody. It's dark days ahead, but I do hope that this will make some more people think outside of the box. And I hope that that'll include airports. And I hope that that'll include a lot of people, actually, including people who give blind people jobs. But that's another story for another video. Anyway, gone on for long enough. It probably won't make a lick of difference, but hey, at least I've said it. But I will be making it very clear to everybody that I am very, very, very strong about airports that are uncontrolled being uncontrolled. Of course, you know, you have to control the pilots being sensible. That's fine. But let people go there. And uncontrolled airports, please, as I said, if a blind person has an ASIC, has the papers for an ASIC, let them get an ASIC. And let me get one, please, so I can go to Gate 3 and I can go airside, finally, that I've wanted to do since I was 12 years old. Anyway, that's it for me. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.
Camera chooser. Back. Button.
Oh, yeah, see you in the next video.
Stop recording. Button.